What's up, guys? Here's Ian, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 5 team builder for the League of Extraordinary Trainers. This week we are taking on resident general of the league, Coach Wower of the Buenos Aires Bunnelbies. Wower is a really good player. He's also our last interdivisional opponent, so this is a really important match for us to win because we are 1-1 in our division right now, and it'd be great to push that to 2-1. That's a thing. Wower did make some notable drops this week. He traded with Eco, and he traded away his Bishop, which in my opinion was his top offensive performing Mon this season, for Eco's Aegislash, which Eco has barely brought to any games, which is hilarious because it was his first overall pick. And Wower also dropped Minior for Electros. So Wower dropped a ton of speed tiers. Like, amazing amount of speed tiers. Electros was a 70-point decrease in speed, and Bishop to Aegislash I think was only 10, but still relevant. So he dropped about 80 speed points total, which makes me feel a little bit more confident going into this match. He did pick up some more defensive Mons, which his team may have been lacking. His team is sort of in between defensive and offensive. Like Landorus Therian can be run offensive or defensive. Volcanion, sometimes you see it with an Assault Vest, sometimes you see it with Specs. Silvally, offensive versus defensive sort of thing. Conch, you can see like Flame Orb offense versus AV defense sort of thing. So it's and obviously Aegislash is like the prime example where shield form is defense and blade form is offense. So let's just run through his team real quickly here. Wower has Aegislash, Landorus Therian, Volcanion, Conkelder, Gardevoir, Serena, Noivern, Silvally, Piloswine, Mega Bayonet, Electros. His Z captains are Gardevoir and Silvally for this side of the bracket. His hazard setters are Landorus Therian with Stealth Rocks and Piloswine with Stealth Rocks. His hazard removers are Serena with Rapid Spin. His 4x weaknesses, I keep forgetting to do these. His 4x weaknesses are Landorus Therian to Ice, Noivern to Ice, and that's it. That should be it. Yeah, that's it. And then the priority that he has Shadow Sneak on Aegislash, Conkelder with Mach Punch, Piloswine with Ice Shard, Bayonet with Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punch, and Serena with Feint. Notable that Serena also blocks my potential priority. We're not rocking with too much priority this week, but we have enough that could be a thing later that I need to remember while I'm in the battle if I'm trying to like pick off the Serena at low health or something. It's a good thing my priority users outspeed Serena, so it doesn't matter. That's the idea here this week. So, notable mention that Kakashi, our Selgor, has put in a lot of work for us this season so far. Not showing up this week. This is the first week that Selgor is not being brought. It is week 5, so that's kind of cool. Last week was also the first week that we brought Licky Licky and Delmise. So now, at this point, 4 weeks through, we have officially brought every single Mon on the team at least once. Unfortunately, Licky Licky, Rhydon, and Delmise have only come once, but potentially they'll see more play in the future. So our first Mon this week is going to be Logan the Mamoswine. We're running Never Melt Ice Thick Fat. I don't like Life Orb recoil, I'm not going to lie, on Mamoswine this week because Mamoswine puts in a solid amount of work to his team. His 2 4x weaknesses are to Ice, which is kind of why I'm bringing Mamoswine, and he also has a large ground weakness, with Electros and Noivern being the only things because Landorus as well. But either way, Noivern and Landorus both dodge the ground attacks, but they both die to ice type attacks. Electros is not going to want to take a Never Melt Ice Icicle Crash. That's the idea here. If he brings Silvally Steel, I have Earthquake for that. If he brings Silvally Ground, which I doubt, then I have Icicle Crash for that. In my mind, he's bringing like a defensive Silvally or an offensive Silvally, but I think it would either be Fire or Steel, which he also has covered twice on his team already. Wower has been known to bring Silvally normal and just put another item on it, which is another possibility. It's entirely in the realm of possibility considering he already has a steel type and a fire type on his team. Or he just doesn't bring Silvally. That's the other option. We're running Stealth Rocks, Earthquake, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard. Stealth Rocks are good because his only removal is Serena with Rapid Spin, and if he gets Serena with Rapid Spin in, then that's setup fodder for my Magearna. Yeah. Basic coverage with Earthquake, Icicle Crash, and Ice Shard. Never Melt Ice boosts the power of ice moves, obviously. We are running Jolly Max Speed, Max Attack. We are speed tying Gardevoir if he brings Gardevoir no Scarf this week. Just a very standard Mamoswine set. Next up is Mienshao Cheng. We're bringing Life Orb Generator this week. I didn't need Scarf against his team because he has a very slow team. The fastest mon on his team is Noivern at 123, and then it's a significant drop off to Silvally at base 95. U-Turn, Drain Punch, Hidden Power Ice, and Knockoff. This HP Ice tech, I want to shout out Kade for this. He gave me the idea that Mienshao should be a Lando lure, and then HP Ice will wreck that thing. I was toying with an Assault Vested set this week, but Noivern Hurricane was still doing so much damage, even with Assault Vest, that I'm just not going to stay in on that thing anymore. Maybe I catch it with an HP Ice on the switch-in. Maybe I catch it with a knockoff. That'd be great, actually, because I'd love to get some items off of his mons. He has no real weakness to knockoff, bar Aegislash, but since I'm not locked in this week, I can actually just U-turn out on that thing, which is fantastic. Drain Punch is there for recovery, especially. It's also really good with Life Orb. The combination of Life Orb plus Regenerator, I know I just talked about how I don't like Life Orb this week on Mamoswine, but the combination of Life Orb plus Regenerator means I'm getting the HP back that I'm losing from Life Orb. So it's a win-win scenario here. I'm getting the damage and I'm getting the HP back, you know. We're running enough speed with Naive Nature because we're running Hidden Power Ice. We're running enough speed to outspeed the Silvally by 1 point. That's the idea, at least. If he's running normal Silvally, he could be running Scarf Silvally this week. I mean, I did the math for what speed it hits, and that's a thing. So, yeah. Yeah. So next up is Dyrus, the Rotom Heat. We are bringing another Choice Scarf Rotom Heat this time, except last time it was a defensive ish Rotom Heat meant to trick a Choice Scarf onto Clefable or Umbreon against Corona. This time it is a very offensive Rotom Heat with the Choice Scarf this week. Overheat, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice. Pretty standard first three moves, and then Hidden Power Ice is there to hit the Landorus better and potentially the Noivern better, although Thunderbolt does hit the Noivern really well. This coverage pretty much hits this entire team, actually, I'm not going to lie. The only thing that kind of sits in front of this is potentially Piloswine with Thick Fat, but we're like a modest Rotom Heat with Overheat, so just because he has Thick Fat doesn't mean that he's going to take it well. That's just what I see. Next up, we're bringing back Kade. I think it's been a couple weeks since we've seen Magearna. Magearna's had some really bad matchups with like Victini and Excadrill on the enemy teams. This week, it's a pain in the ass, but I think Magearna can actually put in some work if we can live a hit and get a Shift Gear off. We're running Shuckaberry just for that. We do take a Lando T Earthquake. We do take a Piloswine Earthquake. Conkeldurr Earthquake, that's pretty much the best thing that thing can hit us with. The only thing that I'm really scared of, potentially, is a Fire Blast from Volcanion. At +1, we will OHKO Volcanion with Thunderbolt, not obviously, but at +1 we will OHKO Volcanion with Thunderbolt unless he's AV. So I do have to get some scouting in to see what his mons kind of are. We're running Shift Gear, Flash Cannon, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt. This is enough coverage to deal with his team, except if he brings Aegislash. Then I just have to rely on Thunderbolt doing enough damage. Potentially having a Soul Heart boost up so that Thunderbolt is doing enough damage would be great. Yeah. We do have to run Timid this week. We're running Timid 188. This lets us outspeed Scarfed Landorus Therian by 1 point when we are Shift Geared up at +2. Running Max Special Attack, and then 68 is in defense to eat those physical hits a little bit better. His physical attackers hit Magearna a little bit better than his special attackers would. Like, for example, I resist or am immune to Noivern's special attacks. I resist Gardevoir's special attacks. The only special attacker on his team that would hit me better is Volcanion, with Fire Blast and Steam Eruption. His physical attackers I resist already. In Aegislash, I resist the Steel Stab. Conk, I resist the Fighting Stab. Lando, I have the Shuckleberry for. Serena, I resist the Grass Stab. Bayonet, I don't really resist Ghost Stab. I mean, obviously I don't resist Ghost Stab, but with the defense investment, I can live a Shadow Claw better. So that's kind of Kade's job this week, is to be a late game cleaner or a mid-game cleaner, depending on if I see an opportunity. I mean, again, if Serena is into Rapid Spin Rocks, I am setting up a Shift Gear on that thing and then killing it with an Ice Beam the next turn. Next up, we've got Sean, the Mimikyu. I'm really sad about Sean. He's leading the team in kills, or he's tied for leading the team in kills now, I think, because Manaphy got a kill last week. But I was considering trading him away for Salamence, considering trading him away for Alakazam this week, but I decided against it because I realized that Mimikyu is kind of like a core part of this team. I consistently bring Mimikyu, and it consistently puts in work. There's really, like, I was debating because I already have a Ghost type in Delmise, and I already have a Fairy type in Magearna, so, like, what's the point in me having a Ghost Fairy type? But Mimikyu is such a unique Pokemon, and it fills a role on my team that I need pretty much every single week as a setup mon. So yeah, that's Mimikyu. We're bringing Lumberry this week because he has a Steam Eruption mon on his team. He also has Bayonet, which can potentially Prankster Will-O-Wisp me. So I don't really want to be burned on Mimikyu. That's the idea with that. We have SD, Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak, Play Rough. The thing that threatens me out the most with this is a Prankster Destiny Bond from Mega Bayonet. Wauer has brought Mega Bayonet to, I believe, every single match, so I see no reason why I shouldn't expect it to come to this match either. It's probably like pretty standard. Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak, Will-O-Wisp, Destiny Bond is typically what you would see on a Bayonet. That's the idea. We're bringing... excuse me. We're bringing a very standard Mimikyu set. I tried to use a Heat one in UPBA last week, and it bit me in the ass, so we're going to just bring standard Mimikyu. Unless I see that I can abuse it at some other point. Jolly Max Speed. Again, because we're base 96, we have to run Jolly Max Speed to outspeed potential Max Speed Silvally, so that's what Mimikyu is doing there. And last but not least, we are bringing Sparky the Manaphy. Another one of our potential setup and win cons. Ha! I like what I did there. Rocky MZ this week, which I'll go into in a sec. Tail Glow, Surf, Ice Beam, and Ancient Power. Let me just talk about the EV spread a little bit before I talk about the moves. We're running 220 speed Timid, which lets us outspeed Silvally. He doesn't have any base 100s on his team, which is like the first time this entire season, I think, that I haven't had to either not run speed at all on Manaphy or run... Yeah, I'm speed creeping with Manaphy, which is, it feels great. Max special attack, and then I popped some in HP, and then I wanted an odd HP value, so the rest is in defense. Yeah, so Tail Glow, obvious reasons, Surf, obvious reasons, nice stab. There are a couple things that resist Surf, those being Serena, and Volcanion with Water Absorb, and Noivern. So, Noivern and Serena both take super effective damage from Ice Beam. Potentially, well, whatever resists water is weak to fire, or sorry, is weak to ice. So for whatever Silvally type he wants to be, it's the same idea. And then Volcanion's the real problem for Manaphy. AV Volcanion takes a +3 Ancient Power. It blows my mind how stupid, especially bulky that thing is. So that's why we have Rocky MZ. If we see Volcanion and we are set up with Manaphy, I'm clicking Rocky MZ on that thing. If I don't see it, then I'm going to click Rocky MZ on something else. Like Electros, probably, actually. That would be what I would click it on, I would think, actually. Yeah. Biggest threats to me this week is Prankster Destiny Bond Mega Manette. Good thing is, he can only do that once. Yeah, he can only do that once. If I were to sack anything to that, it would probably be Mienshao. He's not very weak to fighting on his team. He has 2 ghost types. The only thing that's weak to fighting on his team is potentially Silvally Steel or a Pilot Swine. So Mienshao doesn't do that much. It's just good at chipping down his Mons, getting a good fast U-turn off. I'm probably going to lead with it because I would think that I can take something from Scarf Lando and go for Hidden Power on turn 1. Because in my mind, that's what he leads with, is either Lando, Piloswine, or Silvally. If he leads Silvally, I'm clicking U-turn because he's probably clicking Parting Shot. No, I'm not going to click U-turn if he clicks Parting Shot. What the hell am I talking about? I'm going to click Drain Punch on that thing, and then he's going to click Parting Shot, so that'll be fun. He could also lead Electros. That's another potential lead I see. Besides that, he doesn't really have the best lead bonds. Like, obviously, if he's running a Scarf Lando, he's going to lead Scarf Lando because he's going to have U-turn on there, and he's going to want to U-turn out or get a big Earthquake off. My switch into his Earthquake is potentially Rotom Heat, obviously. And then at that point, he would have to switch, and I get a Volt Switch off for free. So there's sort of like mind games going off on there because obviously Volt Switch doesn't affect him and Earthquake doesn't affect me. But if he's locked into Earthquake, he's going to be the faster one if he's Scarfed because I'm Rotom Heat, so I've got base 86. He also may not expect that I'm Scarfed. He might expect that I'm like leftovers or something. He could be a Lando Stealth Rocks lead, which is a lot less threatening to my team because that means that he doesn't outspeed things like Mienshao. That means he doesn't outspeed things like the Mimikyu, and that means he doesn't outspeed things like the Manaphy, which is, again, our win con. Manaphy is a win con. Potentially, Mimikyu is a win con. Magearna is a win con. Mamoswine is also a win con. Mamoswine is more of a breaker role this week because of his ice weaknesses, but again, Mamoswine is a win con. So that is our team builder for week 5 of the League of Extraordinary Trainers, taking on Coach Wower and the Buenos Aires Bunnelbies, and I will see you guys for the match.